Check, check. I think it should be mandatory that every film festival has at least one ninja appear at some point. So thank you, Tim, for matching our prerequisite for that. Hello to those of us who are joining us via live stream. We just finished watching the film Two Below Zero. Tim, and also our guest, if you could introduce yourselves as well. Go ahead and grab one of the three mics. I sanitized all of them, so go ahead.
My name's Tim. This is Yuvia Storm. This is my wife. She was Ruth Ann Muskrat, so she was the gruff one with the blonde wig.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for making the trip down, and thank you for making this film.
Of course.
I was glad that we could program in a comedy, because we've had kind of a rough day with some of our films today. It's been an extraordinary day, but some of them have kind of bludgeoned us a bit, so it's nice to kind of lift the mood with something that is, in a word, trying to think of how to describe this film. The first thing that comes to mind for me is eccentric.
You know, it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, and watching it, I was like, whoa, this is weird. Yeah, so so I agree. Eccentric is a good word for it.
So the lead actor, Penn Bray, was supposed to join us via Zoom, but I got a message from him a little while ago saying that unfortunately he could not, but he sends his best regards. But also he did the entire soundtrack too, a musician, so that's kind of cool that your lead actor also does the entirety of the music, and you'd worked with him before as well, right?
Yeah, so we've been working together for about 12 or 13 years. We started out doing music videos together. We did about 10 or 12 of those, and then his next goal was to do a feature, so we ended up doing a feature together called The Astronaut, which we brought here a couple of years ago as well. And that one was more, it was deep and broad. This one was a little bit more compacted, and we hope it was funny. So yeah, it's an odd one for sure. Yeah.
Penn Bray also wrote that entire script. So
He did. He
wrote
wrote
all the music and yeah, the whole thing.
As a reminder to our audience, if anyone does have a question, we have microphones there, and thank you to those of you who are joining us online. How about from the acting side of it, of being a part of this film? Was it a little weird having your husband direct you?
We work together quite a lot, so we know our dynamic together, and it always gets weird, and it always gets intense, but we're both really good at just brushing it off, and especially, as you all probably saw, there was like no crew. We were the crew, Penn Bray, really Penn Bray and Tim, because it was super cold and outside, and they did a lot of night shoots, and it was a lot, so I really just was an actress this time. And The Astronaut, I did a lot of other stuff, and it's tiring. It's a lot.
I was going to say, maybe I programmed this wrong, because we could talk about all the hardships of how cold it was and all of the snow, but you didn't,
Not after that
you didn't
last
climb
movie.
a mountain like Devin did.
Exactly.
So there's that aspect too, but I'm sure the conditions were still an issue, right?
I mean, they could have been a lot more of an issue. In fact, before, I'd say it was 2 weeks before filming, we were planning on taking the trailer and putting it up in the National Forest somewhere, which would have been logistically kind of a nightmare, and we got dumped on like 48 inches at our house. So we were able to just shoot the trailer where it was in our yard. So that made everything so much easier. And because we could, obviously just go in and warm up in the house, and then we could go back outside, especially for the night scenes, it was probably 0 or 10 degrees when we were filming those.
The store was a friend's cabin, and the post office was our little tiny house on our property as well. So pretty much the entire thing was filmed on our property.
Right.
That definitely makes life easier. Did we have a question over here? I think so, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I feel like one of the hardest parts of making a film is getting the tone right, and I feel like you guys totally nailed it. I was curious if there are any movies or music that you use as references to get everyone on the same page with that kind of tone.
I'm trying to think. I don't think we referenced many. When I first started working with Penn Bray, Napoleon Dynamite is one of the things that comes to mind, because he has this oddness about himself, and he's close to this character that he plays in both the films that we've worked on. And so there's, he's obviously dramatizing it a little bit, but I kind of just try and work around him and let him do his thing a lot of the times. I mean, I'll give him some direction, but my goal with him is to just do as many takes as possible. Usually it takes us, 3 or 4 to warm up. In fact, in the outtakes there, he mentions the pink hat. There was a segment that we did where we shot this whole scene for 3 hours and then realized that she was not supposed to have the pink hat on. Like, it was pre-pink hat, and we were like, oh, and I mean, it was one of those, like, I can't believe this just happened. Another thing that was really tough for myself, when we went to go shoot, I had a cable that was attached to my monitor so I was using an A7S II, which is a very small camera that has a very small screen that's really hard to see. And so the cable to my nice screen busted the day before shooting. And then the soonest I could get one on Amazon was like 4 days. And then when it came, it was the wrong one. So the whole 9 days, I basically had to depend on the autofocus of the camera, which I was cringing up there actually in my seat several times where I was like, oh. And so that for me is the biggest thing, is if I just had that monitor, I would have been able to like capture the focus that much better, and it would have made some of the fuzzier shots a little bit cleaner. So those are the things that happen when you are on a schedule, and you know your client is from another country, and you've only got them there for so many days, and you know everybody else's schedule, and it's low budget, and so you can't really go more days because your talent too only has these 3 days to work with or 4 days to work with. Speaking of the girls, so I was definitely biting my lip a lot during the production.
But back to your question,
Sorry.
We have worked with Penn and Bray a lot, and so we do understand his quirkiness, which is really just very unique and different. And then the girls were our good friends, and we just were like out at the cabin for that entire 2-3 day shoot. And so we were just like all together the whole time, definitely just feeling the quirky vibe of all of that.
Yeah, Pennon has been to our festival before. I've had a chance to talk to him. And while Pennon is being a crazy, oddball, quirky character, that's not that far off of who Pennon is as a person. So I'm sure we'd be getting all sorts of one-liners if he was able to join us tonight and in the course of this as well. Did we have a question over here? Yes.
Yeah, hi. I just want to say, I think the main actor remind me of John C. Reilly, kind of that quirkiness
totally.
And that just kind of oddball comedy. I'm just curious. I think your strength in this film, from what I've seen, is that you knew what worked for like location, music, actors, and everything. Just was such a nice blend, and I think that says a lot about you as a director. Because I think what happens a lot of times for independent films is that people kind of forget that they have limitations, right? And so you worked everything just brilliantly. I mean, there wasn't one moment where I was thinking, this isn't funny, and it all worked great. So my question is this: did any of the actors have input on lines, or was it just totally just by the book? Because I know when I film, I always, it's very fluid.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing that you just said everything you said, because I was having the opposite experience. It's interesting when you watch your own film.
Yeah.
All you can see are the mistakes and stuff, and so that's kind of what I was doing in my seat. It was just like, ooh, and the ah, and the ooh, and the. But to note that's really moving that you said that. So thank you so much. And yeah, obviously too, when there's very small budget and there's no crew, you miss things. And so obviously my dream has always been to have like a full crew and to have a little bit more expense to play around, or to just concentrate on one facet of filmmaking rather than have to think of them all at one time, because I can definitely, I feel like I'm, good enough at all the things, but not like necessarily great at any one of them. So, it takes, when it's just you, it's like you gotta kind of do it all. I forgot what the question was.
We pretty much followed the script pretty completely. There was a few times that we added random stuff in, but yeah, it was mostly the script for sure.
Great, thank you.
Right.
As far as the personalities of the ladies involved, the female characters were also very over the top and madcap. How difficult was that for the three actors involved to get into that mindset?
I'll let you talk, but I just want to say one thing. When we had these wigs out on the table, and we were just doing a read-through the day before shooting, and Yuvia put the wig on, and then all of a sudden this voice came out, and we were just rolling over laughing because it was so different than the other characters that she's played. And she was the lead in The Astronaut as well. She was the love interest. And this character from that is like a complete opposite. So she did an amazing job. And then I'll let you continue on about the three of you.
Yeah, I don't know. We just all had so much fun working together and just kind of being different. And it was really clear that we had like the super cute writer girl and the like badass, funny redhead. And then I was having a little bit of trouble finding my character, really, just because she like actually had a lot less lines, and so it was a lot of just standing around and stuff. And then, yeah, I put on that wig, and it was just like that character came, and she was really fun. It was really fun to just be so different than who I am, and it was also really hard sometimes because she was like negative and really intense, and that's not really my personality, but it was a fun challenge.
One thing that's always fun getting to talk to actors and directors that are involved in film production, certain genres, comedy is a good example, something like this, when you play it serious, that's when it becomes funny, right? Or horror films sometimes are a great example. They're supposed to be scared, but it's so obvious they're having so much fun playing with like fake blood and guts and all this, that they can't help but like show a smile while they're being chased by a monster or something, you know? How hard is it to stay in character and keep a straight face and not destroy scenes when the circumstances you're portraying are so ludicrous? And you have to stay in that mode, or you'll kill a take and you're like, this is so, so weird what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we mess up a lot. We laugh at ourselves a lot. We have to like pull it together a lot of the times, and just like, yeah, there's the times also when you're just so tired and you're trying to be funny and you're just like burned out and want to go inside and get warm, but you still like have to bring this, you know. Actually, the redhead, she was the only one with like real acting experience out of all of us in the entire movie. So she was really fun to work with. And I was really lucky that all the lines were short because I hadn't like had a whole lot of time to rehearse. So yeah, it just worked. Like I said, we were friends. And so we just like fed off of each other, and it was super fun.
And Penn and Bray and I, we've been working together so long that it does feel like he's just family at this point, so we can be honest with each other about everything, and if stuff doesn't work, it's not like anybody's going to get their feelings hurt or whatever. So I find that when you're in a comfortable space to make art, that's so much easier than when you feel like if you've got somebody else there that makes you feel self-conscious about what you're doing, that can really throw a wrench, whether it's the acting or the directing or camera person or whatever, you know. It's like somebody just throws a little jab in there, and it's like, ooh, it's like they don't need to be feeling the sting right now. We're trying to like all be in our comfort zone. So,
well, we will end with this, and then we have one more film to watch. Thank you for bearing with us. I know we're running a few minutes behind schedule.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. As filmmakers, we are always our own harshest critic, and so like you said, you were sitting up there going, oh god, oh no, oh man, I messed that up. But getting a chance to go back and watch it again, too, I'm sure brings back some good memories.
Oh, definitely.
And so do you have a personal, like, favorite moment from the entire film shoot, or prank or goof? Or I know we had the whole blooper reel at the end there, but like when you can go back and watch it and it makes you laugh every time that you think about it, is there something that stands out?
Yeah, and I guess I was able to breathe once the action starts, once the dream sequence hits, and there's the ninja, and then there's the snowball fight. Like I was able to just like relax in my seat and like enjoy it. I feel like leading up to that, it was a little bit tough, but to me that was my favorite part. Was probably the snowball scene where they're shooting the snowballs, and we just used like I think we bought a blower from Lowe's for that, and like somehow rigged it up. I like watched a YouTube video and watched this kid teach me how to shoot snowballs out of a blower. And it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't. And so we were actually chucking snowballs a lot too. So, and I think getting the mannequin's head to fall off, it took like 50 takes for us to like actually hit it right where it would finally fall. And to me, that was the most fun, was the snowball fight. Yeah.
Terrific. Well, thank you both of you for being here, and thank you for showcasing this film. We have an autographed poster that Tim has signed, and actually we should have you sign it as well. So let's take it back into the lobby and have you sign, and then I'll leave it up to you as far as who in our audience gets it. This will be our last giveaway of feature posters, and this one is for you two to keep in your home. So
thank you. We'll definitely hang that one
so
up.
much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Our last...
I carry it down.
Yeah. Our last film of the evening is called A Hurricane with Fire. This is a documentary that was made by Nisha Burton. This is a film that really strikes home for those of us who live in the Klamath Basin. It's about the Almeda fire that happened last year, that happened a week before our film festival last year. And one of our filmmakers in last year's festival lost their home in that fire, amongst thousands of people who lost it. So we're going to get a chance to talk to Nisha afterwards. I believe she's here. Hello, thank you so much for coming. So we're going to enjoy her film. We just finished watching our last feature film of the festival, which was our shortest feature, and now we're going to watch our longest short. So we're going out with the first short, and then tomorrow we will pick up again at 10:30 in the morning with our K through 12 student category and continue on throughout the day. We're showing 39 or 40 short films tomorrow, so it'll be a very packed, busy day, leading up to our awards ceremony at 6 o'clock. Thank you to everyone who has spent the day with us. I realize we start at 10:30 in the morning. This has been a very long day. Thank you to everyone who's been watching online, and we will see you after this film, which is a little under 40 minutes long, and we'll have Nisha join us. And then after we're done talking with Nisha, everyone please come join us over at Klamath Basin Brewery for some food and drinks. Thank you so much for sticking with us on day 2 of the 9th Annual Klamath Independent Film Festival. And now let's see some of the incredible stories associated with last year's tragic Almeda fire in the film A Hurricane with Fire.